ready to get the program started. Everybody find a seat. My name is Bianos, and I'm the coordinator of Manzanar At Dusk program. Manzanar Pilgrimage. I want to welcome you all to the 2015 Manzanar At Dusk program. How many of you are at the pilgrimage today? Can you raise your hands? Okay, just about everybody. How many of you are first timers? Wow, give yourself a hand. That's awesome. Well, what we're going to do here tonight this evening is a little different. Obviously, we're inside, we're not on the site. But what tonight's program is about is sharing our experiences. Hopefully, I don't know if you have realized, hopefully hearing some stories of those who were behind the bar, not just in Manzanar, but any confinement sites. And what we've done is since it's getting harder and harder for our these days especially to be able to get up in front like I'm talking to you now and tell their stories, what we've done is we've put that responsibility in the hands of young people. And what they're going to do is they research oral histories, they talk to family, and document their stories from when they were incarcerated. So they're going to share those with you. And also at the same time, look at some of what, at least especially in terms of euphemistic terminology, issue that our community is dealing with at present. Kind of mix it all together. So what I want to do, and just so you know, this event is co-sponsored by four EKC, Job and Student Organizations. First we have the Cal Poly Pomona EKC Union. Give them a hand. The Cal State Long Beach EKC Union. The UCLA EKC Union. Columbus here. And UCSD EKC Union. And this is what I'm going to do is I want to introduce RMC to the evening. First is Jason from GE from Cal State Long Beach NSU. And Renaud Nino from UCSD EKC. They're going to talk about what's happening. So thanks for coming. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Lee. I'm a representative of Cal State Long Beach's EKC Union. We thought we would share a few words that are relevant to Manzanar and the Japanese American incarceration. Additionally, we gathered stories from the people who experienced the time in prison. Today, we're trying to use the terminology and the stories that more accurately portrays our history, as opposed to using our captors' language, which are adopted terms. Since the war, we have been guilty of using euphemistic language that can be misleading. We hope to challenge how many of you think about how to describe the Japanese American incarceration in terms of the words we use to describe it.
Hi, my name is Renaud Nino, and I'm a representative from UCSD's EKC Union. In addition to challenging you to think about euphemistic language, we also would like to present certain phrases and words that we feel are important to Japanese American incarceration. Today's gathering at Manzanar showcases how we must truly study and understand our past to properly move forward and strengthen the future of the Japanese American community and nation as a whole.
Hi, my name is Sam. And my name is Jamal. And we are representatives from the Cal Poly Pomona Student Union. Our first words that we would like to present to you are internment and incarceration. These words are important because they encompass the key terms we currently use to describe the Japanese American experience during World War II. Internment refers to the act of interning or confinement without trial, especially during wartime. The usage of the word internment somewhat glosses over the situation of Japanese Americans during World War II. Alternative words are often used to further and more accurately describe the situation: incarceration and concentration. Incarceration refers to the state of being imprisoned. This already better encapsulates the circumstances since the Japanese Americans were in fact imprisoned. Concentration camp refers to a camp in which people are detained or confined, usually under harsh conditions and without regard to legal norms of arrest and imprisonment that are acceptable in a constitutional democracy. We must use concentration camp carefully, though, as we do not want to equate it to the Nazi concentration camps, although that is true for those would be death camps.
The euphemisms of the phrase concentration camp are used to soften the harshness of what these containment areas actually were: a designated area for a specific group of people to be detained for reasons of war. By using the terms internment or relocation center, we are fooling ourselves that the time spent behind barbed wire wasn't really that bad, that the conditions weren't that harsh. These words do not paint an accurate picture. The U.S. Constitution states, "No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law." And clearly this was violated when thousands of Japanese Americans were forcibly removed from their homes and placed in camps around the U.S. The conditions in these camps were far from comfortable. Here to give some first-hand experiences of the camps is a representative from Long Beach.
You guys hear me? Hi, my name is Andy. I'm a representative from Cal State Long Beach's DK Student Union. When Carol first arrived at Manzanar, my first thought was,
I didn't think we were prisoners, but we felt like we were prisoners when we got there.
the barracks like incarcerees were assigned to had little to nothing in it. Mary stated,
The room, it had one oil stove, and nothing. No questions, nothing. Just one bare room where we put our cots and our little gun in. Our duffel bag full of our clothing, nothing else.
in addition to these poor housing situations, everything else was just as bad.
We had canned spinach. If you've never seen canned spinach, it looked like one of those army trucks, that same color. The lavatories were not finished, they're just hooked up, no compartments.
Said Paul. Incarcerees had no privacy whatsoever during their time at Manzanar, even to an extent where they were followed to the latrines.
I remember going out one night, and the searchlights followed me all the way to the latrine. When I came out from the latrine, it followed me all the way back to my room. And I think everyone remembers those searchlights in every camp.
Not only did incarcerees lose their sense of privacy, but they also lost their sense of identity and culture as well. I'm here to discuss those topics are representatives from UCSD.
Hi, my name is Kelsey, and I'm a representative from UCSD's Media Student Union. Other important phrases that relate to Japanese Americans' experiences in incarceration camps include identity crisis, loss of identity, and loss of culture. These stories came from past incarcerees who experienced incarceration when they were around 11 to 17. Teenagers at this age struggle to discover who they are and where they belong. And in the nation they were born in, these teenagers grew up in an America that was trying to push them out. Thus, these past incarcerees struggled with a loss of identity and a loss of culture. These story excerpts from past incarcerees exemplify the deterioration of family. The FBI took my father and didn't even tell my family where they were taking me, said Aiko, a former incarceree. Besides the forced separation of families prior to incarceration, Kenji explains that
family structure fell apart in camps, since parents didn't provide for their children. It was like a family in welfare.
further, there was a deterioration of education in the camps. Kenji explained
We didn't even have proper materials, like books.
about resources. June recalled.
I was a terrible student, being incarcerated. I felt there was no future.
And Sadaka also recalled.
Camp life caused a lot of us to lose out on furthering our education. I was never able to make use of my scholarship, and at 17 years old, it was hard for me to get a job.
Trying to avoid incarceration and vilification, Japanese Americans rid themselves of anything Japanese or personally valuable. Aiko shares,
My personal belongings were burned because my family didn't want to possess anything that may have been seen as threatening. Old Japanese records, books, the emperor's pictures, and even my own diary.
some youth even grew to hate their Japanese heritage, like Jin.
I hated everything to do with Japanese dancing, martial arts, Japanese customs. There was so much prejudice. I wish I had been born white.
But in the space where they were imprisoned, new Japanese American culture and identities formed to create a community today. In camp, incarcerees were getting to know their community and creating their futures from these concentration camps. Sadaka, a former incarceree, said,
The first job I got was working in the mess hall as a waitress. I learned a lot of Japanese because the cooks were all elderly people. I also met my future husband at the racetrack.
Japanese Americans also supported each other in camp. In Tubile, Tetsujiro Nakamura used his knowledge of Japanese language and legal background while working in the camp's legal aid office.
I had leave clearance, but stayed for my community.
With hardships and painful moments, Japanese Americans got on and made these unwelcoming camps home despite the identity and culture loss they unjustly faced.
Hi, my name is Max, and I'm a representative from UCLA's NSU. Lastly, an important concept based on Japanese American endurance and ability are gaman and shikataganai. The words gaman and shikataganai resonated throughout all incarceration camps. Perfectly describing camp life, everyone repeated these two phrases at every camp. Gaman means the power of enduring unfavorable or unjust situations with patience and dignity. Shikataganai means an understanding that some things cannot be helped. Although shikataganai approaches a negative view of the situation and gaman portrays a positive view, the words go hand in hand, and these words help to strengthen the Japanese American community during World War II. Shikataganai justifies a reason for gaman. By approaching situations that are shikataganai with gaman, the originally Japanese culture helped and continues to help the Japanese American community endure and grow stronger through times of adversity. The concentration camp environment insinuated that even basic necessities were difficult to attain. A story from Salaba during World War II reads.
My name is Salaka. The first camp I was sent to was in Tulare, California in April 1942. The barracks were originally horse stables, so they smelled, and we were given army cots to sleep on. The worst thing I can remember at Tulare were the latrines. They were horrible. I remember holding it in to avoid going to the bathroom. And the barbed wire fences, the military police station, and the towers were also very intimidating.
The camps did not even provide law enforcement. A story about Tsujiro Nakamura by Martha Nakagawa reads,
It was not a pleasant place to live.
Said Nakamura, citing a camp murder that never got solved.
There was no law enforcement by the WRA inside the camps. They didn't know what was going on, so we had our own rules.
Lastly, we see gaman and the presence of shikataganai in the words that aren't written into the stories. We know that the government simply called these places relocation camps. The reality was that these places were concentration camps designed to lower and weaken the Japanese American community. We understand now that these camps were dark places with lawless murders. However, we see people such as Norimoto from Heart Mountain who explain,
I was really young when I was in camp, so I only really remember the fun things that we did, not anything else.
Additionally, we see this type of perspective in Darren Kawasaki's retelling of his grandfather's, Jun Okimoto's, story in Manzanar as a relatively positive experience. June recollected,
The best thing that happened to me was when a boys' club, the Manzanars, was formed. We had over 50 boys in our club and 3 advisors, Shiro Shinokura, Joe Okabe, and Joe Shiro. Athletics was one of the most important activities in camp. We had one hardball team coached by Min Watanabe, softball teams, and just about everyone got to play basketball, even me. Most of our uniforms were ordered through Sears Roebuck Kikabo.
These memories allow us some insight regarding the parents' experiences as the providers who lost everything, yet still carried on and endured. Even after the pain, the suffering, and the loss, they persevered through the concentration camps. We cannot forget the gaman faced by the people who continue to see shikataganai in order to patiently and gracefully raise strength for their children, the leaders of the next generation of Japanese Americans.
So all these words, phrases, and stories that our representatives have shared with you today all played an important part in Japanese American incarceration. We hope these stories have helped you to see World War II incarceration camps in Manzanar and a new perspective. Please take this time at Manzanar to challenge the way we currently view incarceration camps and use those new views to guide the Japanese American community in a positive direction. And thank you for your time.